Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. This is the Tech Visionaries panel. The greats of fixed ops are on here. Mike Weldon is with us. Tully Williams, also on the West Coast with Mike. Shon Kingrey down in Tennessee. Don Andres, welcome on the road. We'll find out where. Marco Zwanenburg will be moderating the panel. And Curtis Gardner also here with us today. Robert Migliaccio from Carter Myers Automotive. I'm thinking back from NADA, we'll find out. And Jim Sabino, the King of the North, All-American Ford Group in New Jersey. Welcome, gentlemen. And Marco, the show is yours.
Well, thank you, Ted. Thank you for the introduction. And thank you, gentlemen, for being with us. And this is going to be a great panel, much anticipated, and one of the longest running, I still think, so we're doing great. So today's topic, I would like to bring to you dispatching in the shop. The effects on morale, the effects on workshop flow, the effects on efficiency, the effects on everything. So I recently had written a little post on LinkedIn about that. Most of you have read it and some of you commented on it. So you know where I'm going with this. And Robert, I'm going to start with you because you had a reply to my post saying that recently CMA had made changes. So I am very curious to hear what those changes are and how they have affected all the positivity that can come out of a correct dispatch.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things we did here in our Valley stores that's kind of going through is we've changed our platform to a shop foreman dispatcher, and that person is paid on shop production hours. So it is all about the hours from him, very much still in the context of a flat rate system. Now he gets to share that analogy of how he creates those hours through flat rate to all the other team members in the shop and get them to grow up in it. So a little bit of a turn from what we had. Obviously, we had just a mix of kind of old school, we had a couple team situations that we went through. We had a couple advisor dispatchings, and we really found the best way to pour in was to kind of have somebody in the shop, somebody they all could kind of corral around and really kind of grow with, and somebody who can push the bar for what they're able to do as well, and also monitor, watch, and see what they're doing and help them move through it. So on top of being the foreman and the guy helping teaching, he's dispatching the work. So now we know for sure that the right person's getting the job. We know for sure that they're getting the help they need when they need it. And on top of that, we're making sure they're going home tired and rich, like Tully likes to say.
Excellent. I love to hear that forward motion there, Robert. It's such a great thing to have. Don, coming to you, being out in the field, what do you see on a daily basis when it comes to dispatching? How many stores are doing it right and how many are doing it wrong? And do you see an upswing in wanting to switch to the right side?
Yeah, well, first of all, you see all types. Right? We got centralized dispatch, we got electronic dispatching where we're trying to get the computer to do it, simple groups, lateral supports, and of course the infamous teams. I've seen all of them go well, and then I've seen a vast majority of the same thing crash and burn. And it really is, what's the commitment that the dealer and the fixed ops person, the service manager, is putting into this idea of dispatching? How much of a commitment are they really investing into dispatching? So I've seen it as loose as, the ROs come into a centralized dispatch, like you were just talking about, Robert, and he can't get it out of his office fast enough. He can't get it out to that tech fast enough. And he does ultimately lose control of the RO. It's somewhere in the shop. And the end result is that he really isn't being effective. The worst problem we have is if they don't understand that the dispatch is the hub. It is ultimately the hub. We want all the information to flow into that hub, and we want to have all the answers in that hub, which means part availability. If we've ordered them, we want to know that the authorization happened. We want to know which technician is freeing up for the job. We want to know is the RO moving through at the right pace based on the commitment we made to the customer in promise time. Dispatcher needs to know all those and have all those answers. One of the worst things that I see, and you'll appreciate this, Marco, is the advisors don't get the answer from their dispatchers. So what do? They drift into the shop. And now they walk up to a technician. He's got his head under a hood. He's trying to figure something out. And we're going, hey, that other job that's on your box? Any idea when you might be able to get that done? Why are you bothering me? Get out of my bay. No, I have no idea, you know? And so the end result is they don't get the information they need. So now they go back up to the customer and they make some ambiguous statement to them. We're working on it. And the customer says, well, how long? I'm not sure. And so the vicious circle continues, right? So now the customer's calling again for status 2 hours later, 3 hours later, because he doesn't know. Whereas the dispatcher ultimately could and should have all of that information, so the writer can go right to dispatch, get the answers he needs, goes back and has a real understanding of how that RO is moving through the shop.
Excellent. Thanks. Thank you so much, Don. Curtis, coming to you as a technician, not only is proper dispatching a direct tie to how many hours we will flag that week and how good we will do, but from a different perspective, as a morale perspective, how does it irk you to see a car that is dripping with gravy and that could have hundreds of recommendations on it, well, slightly overstated, going to the wrong person and the car leaves without having the proper diagnosis and the proper write-up done? Morale speaking, how important is dispatching on a technician's point of view?
Dispatching can make or break morale in the shop. You can give the right tickets to the wrong people, whether it's diag or gravy. Ultimately, the more certified technicians need to have a balance of both, and some of the younger technicians need to have a balance of both, and they need to kind of elevate and test their skills. If the tickets are being handed out or dispatched what some might say is unfairly, you're going to start killing the morale in the shop. And some of those technicians, even whether they're qualified or not, sometimes that's going to really bring down the desire to continue to want the flag. They're going to start maybe blaming the dispatcher or blaming a system. So it's important that if the dispatcher does hand out those tickets, it maybe gives a quick explanation on, hey, I'm giving you this ticket so you can learn this, or I'm giving you this ticket so you can get better at that. Instead of just, because if there's not a small explanation, it's easy to misinterpret why those tickets are getting handed out to those people. And I mean, I've done it myself. It's one of those things is if you get the ticket and it's a bad warranty ticket and you get a couple of those in a row, it's easy to get lost and just think that the whole system's out to get you. So I think it's, regardless of the system of dispatching, I think it's important of who's dispatching. It's a true leader, someone that is looked up to and a mentor for the entire shop, and not necessarily someone who's just out to hand out the gravy.
Excellent. I couldn't agree with you more. It is so important for morale to keep a good mix of work going. Shon, you being in a relatively new store to you, how is dispatching going in your store right now? And is there anything you would like to change, or have they figured it out?
I think, good question. By the way, great topic, Marco. I got to say, prior to me getting here, they had a dual shop foreman role. To Robert's point, that they were dispatching, but definitely the overall consensus was there was some favoritism. Everybody was hoarding this and keeping it on their groups because they have an amazing apprenticeship program here. Prior to me getting here, they hired a retired Ford shop foreman. By the way, this is a GM store, and they hired a shop foreman from a Ford store. But his pay, the only change we're going to make is, so listen, you're not gonna blow smoke up his rear end, okay? Because he gets it, he knows it, he's done it forever. Harley rider, tattooed, got a ponytail, got it all going on. By the way, everything you're imaging, he's got it. The techs aren't going to bully him, okay? And funny thing is, the only thing I would say differently is we're always going to tee off of Tully. He needs to be incentivized off the hours, because the one thing everybody does, as everybody knows, is they work their pay plan. All right, you want more hours, he gets it. The funny part is, I'm not going to say that there's bribing going on, but I will say he's not afraid to take treats like he has a sweet tooth to get better tickets. I mean, this man eats more sweet stuff. And by the way, his wife is a mortician, which makes the jokes even funnier if you know the truth. But the point being, this man eats more treats and more sweet stuff during the day than anybody you've ever seen in your entire life. And I narc him out to his wife every time I get a chance. Because the funny other part is, when I first got here, my first week, one of the technicians in the shop went toe to toe with them, like they're arguing. I'm going, are you an idiot? This guy controls your workflow. And she came up to me 2 or 3 weeks later and goes, I'm not getting any gravy. You think? The guy who controls the heartbeat of the shop, you cut his artery, okay? Near and dear to my heart here, okay? So listen, is it working? It's working well. Have we maybe outgrown the one person thing? I think so, because I think what happens is, and I think it was Don that said it, you see the characteristic of him when he gets overwhelmed, he can't get it off his desk fast enough. When he's under control and the process is working and you don't have, because we'll do 150 tickets a day easily custom. And when he gets overwhelmed, you got to hang on, because then he starts to dish the tickets out because the stack builds up and he gets a little nervous. And once we work through that, and it may, like I said, it may be bigger than a one-person job, but yeah, the dispatching system here works. But to the point, and I'm not trying to ramble on here, I've seen it not work in stores, and it will break a store in a second.
Thank you, Shon. And really glad to hear that everything is going well in your new store. That makes it so much easier for you to walk in there and, just do your thing. So, Mr. Williams, all about the hours. How does correct dispatching affect the hours, and what has the Nilo company done to ensure a proper flow?
Great question. So our 10 stores, we dispatch differently in almost every store. We have a true dispatching system that works at our Acura store. And that's where there's the actual central dispatch. They all come up, and it works brilliantly at that store. 2 foremans in the shop and full dispatch. It works great because the dispatcher's engaged. Just so you know, if you bring sweets to the dispatcher for favoritism, I fire you. Just so you know. Let's get that out there. So the issue is we want to be fair. And the way we keep it fair is we track their hours by what kind of jobs they do, how much percentage is warranty, how much percentage is maintenance, how much percentage is repair. We want to make sure everybody's treated well, and it's also transparent, because what is the first thing they do when they have a bad job? They blame the dispatcher or whoever gave them the job. So the goal is going to be is we want to make sure we spread the hours out. Then we have the team system. We do that in our BMW stores. They've been doing it for years. 3 huge teams, 6 to 8 technicians on that team. That team leader is basically a mini foreman in that group, and it works well. The team works well. They do pass jobs between teams if there's someone qualified, but that team works well. Why? Because the GM and the service manager and the actual foreman at our BMW stores engaged in making sure it happens. Again, we are making sure that everybody gets the same qualified hours, that make sure that we have the same amount of warranty as we do customer pay and maintenance. And then we have the good old-fashioned foreman dispatch. That's usually in our smaller stores. And to me, that's more of a traditional dispatching system where you have a dispatcher. He also has a dual role as a foreman. Most of our Europeans, don't have working foremans. I don't know why, but we have to do it that way. So that foreman does have some spare time unless he's pretending that he's busy working on something else. But the goal is going to be to make a dispatcher work. Is he engaged? Is your service manager engaged to make sure everybody's being treated fairly? Is everybody hitting 130 to 150% of their hours? Is everybody going home rich and tired? And if that is because of dispatching, we will fix it instantaneously, because as everybody says on this panel, a bad dispatcher will destroy the shop, but a great dispatcher will make a technicians rich and tired in a shop that comes in at 150%.
Woo.
Absolutely. You're so right when it comes down to especially if you have multiple stores, to treat every store differently and find out what works for every store. Mike Weldon, coming to you, both from a retired service position now, but being a fixed ops coach now out in the field, like Don, what systems do you see that work and what systems do you see that fail? Most of my experience lays with failing systems. It is going to be dispatcher by the advisor, which is just an all over bad idea. So what is your take on that, Mike?
Well, taking off of what Tully said, I've seen every system out there. And the biggest thing is that I'm seeing is most people haven't put enough thought into how they arrange the process by identifying the needs of the shop, identifying the skill set in the shop, and identifying the importance of getting the work through the shop. They just throw it out in the shop and it's mayhem. And the technicians are generally up in arms. They're They're upset. I sat in an arbitration case here recently regarding a technician that felt that he was being dispatched unfairly. So that's a non-productive technician, but he's a highly productive technician if you motivate him in the right way to make sure. I don't know if treats would get him there, Shon, but
I
you know,
can tell you, Mike, it doesn't hurt.
All these technicians want to do is come to work, and make a good living. As has been said, go home rich and tired and a little sweaty. But and you know, if we can just get there, we just make it so complex on our technicians, and that is the engine of the whole machine. And we need to make it simple so that these guys and gals are as productive as they can be. And by mixing up the work mix, and that way you need to, and most guys don't even know the skill set of their technicians or gals, whoever's managing the shop. They don't even know the skill set. They're just overrun by this work. So they just throw it out in the shop and it's ineffective. It doesn't get done in a timely fashion. It doesn't get fixed right. Wrong recommendations sometimes come back. Technicians are frustrated. And if we just need to stop, take a breath, pick a system, regardless what it is, whether it's a Teams platform or a dispatch platform or ERO. I've seen them all work. I've used them all myself. And you just have to stick by it, and you have to really work it and get input from your techs. I think that's the biggest thing that we eliminate. We don't get enough input from the people that are actually performing the work. We do that, you'll have more wins than you'll have losses.
Absolutely. Well said, Mike. Jim, my All-American friend, coming to you. So how do you handle the dispatch over at All-American Ford? And does have mobile service have an impact on how dispatch is ran?
Mobile service is completely separate from our dispatch traditional setup. It runs on its own. It's like a business within a business, Marco. So, and that's all handled. The routing and everything is all handled through our mobile service team, mobile service coordinators, things like that. So that works really well. The dispatching, again, incredible, insight from everyone in here. And, going last is a tough one because I don't want to repeat, but I'm just going to give you my little quick view on this. And some of it's going to be repetitive. So the dispatcher, in my opinion, is 100% a make or break of that shop. There's no doubt in my mind that it can be successful a week of productive of hours, producing hours, or it could be a disaster. And you can ruin a good technician. You can, because you can just give him one bad job after a next, and it's just going to put them in a position where they don't even want to go up and see you because they know they're going to get dumped on. You can ruin good advisors by having their waiters sit too long in a pile without being, hey, we got to get technicians on these. This waiter's been in my pile for an hour and it hasn't been in the shop yet. So what's going on? Where are my quick lube technicians? Where's the holdup? Or, is there something that I need to have a technician, a meeting with the advisors and say, hey, we're running really behind. Someone's going to be freed up. 2 guys are going to be freed up in the next 10 minutes. Just let you know, touch base with your customers. We're on this and so nobody's forgotten. I'm a big fan of dispatch to the technician's strength, not their weakness. So if you have somebody in a good drivability position or a good electrical, I'm going to, and you want to be a level playing field. You don't want to favor one technician or another, but you 100%, in my opinion, you need to dispatch to their strength, what they're good at, what their wheelhouse is. And that's where I'm thinking you're going to get your best turnaround, your best production, your best workmanship. You're going to get all that. You're going to, minimize your comebacks, because if you give an electrical problem to a technician that really isn't good in electrical, most likely it's going to take too long to fix it, or it's going to come back. So, play to their strengths, use their skill set to your advantage, and make sure that the low-hanging fruit, the gravy jobs, are equally distributed. And everybody gets a fair share of that pie, and there's no favoritism, and there's no this, and the dispatcher has his favorite technicians that he gives all the brake jobs to and all the services, and you have to get away from that, and don't ever go down that rabbit hole because it's hard to get out of it. be fair, support your technicians when needed, help them, if a car is buried in the parking lot or missing keys, don't let them wait around for a porter to find the keys. Give them another job. Don't let them be a victim of that downtime. And that's all part of the dispatching. So, use your head, be smart, and keep in mind that their time is the most valuable commodity that they have.
Awesome, Jim. Thank you. So I've heard from 7 industry veterans here who all have different perspectives, but all sound like we're on the same line. So dispatching is extremely important for FFV, for workshop flow, for retention when it comes both to customers and technicians, for upselling, for having the proper time estimates ready for the customer. So we're working right into the under promise and over deliver here. So my question to each and every one of you is going to be the same question. With dispatch being so important on so many different levels in the fixed ops system, how can we justify making it a specialized position, not to be done by a shop foreman, not to be done by anyone else, but a specialized position? And Jim, since you were last, I'm going to start with you.
Okay. So how do you change the question is, how do you change the culture and to put more spotlight on this position? Is that what
my question is, like, could we justify making the dispatcher a specialized position within the fixed operations, within the shop? So not having it done by a shop foreman, not having it done by a team leader, but a specialized position, since it is really such a specialized procedure that has to be done.
It is. You need all the information that the team leader or shop foreman, they all have that. So they know the skill levels of the technicians. So it's important that, yes, it is, it's culture within each organization. How far do you want to push it? Where do you want to set your department up to succeed, or do you want to set your department up to fail? This is a key and critical position that can make or break your department in any given day, week, or month. There's no question about it. And I'm a firm believer, if there is so much attention that needs to be given to that one single role, that dispatcher, because there's so many people involved, the technicians, the service advisors, and then ultimately the customer, right? The customer is going to pay the price if it's not gone through the system properly. Time, comeback, workmanship issues, or done correctly, proper multi-point inspections. You can give a service writer can write up a ticket with 45,000 miles on it, know that, there's something there. The customer's ready. I kind of set the stage at write up, and then the dispatcher gives it to, Tom over there who, is half blind or doesn't, there could be metal cords coming through the tires, and he'll do the oil change and put the car outside. And that's, where the technician, obviously that's a technician issue, but the dispatcher needs to be aware of the cars that have the potential have to go to the proper technicians that are going to do the proper multi-point inspections and report on the needed work, the necessary work, 100%. So yes, it is 100% a specialized position that needs more attention.
Awesome. Thank you, Jim. Miggs, let's come to you, my friend. What do you think?
I agree. I think it's definitely something that can be formalized into its own position by itself. I think ultimately what the shop's needs are is going to dictate where that goes to. And down the road, as you build it and develop it, it's going to naturally turn itself into what it needs to become. Like a lot of people have said on here, it may start off as a shop foreman dispatching, and as things grow and progress, it's going to naturally turn into a dispatching job and role only as you continue to develop, grow the team, have them support the shop foreman and what he's doing, and then naturally it's just going to become a dispatching position at the end of the day. So it's going to grow to that if it's done right and done correctly. It's going to happen on its own. It's not something that needs to be a question of. It's going to be at that point because he's not going to have any other time other than making sure the vehicle's in the right location, making sure the technicians are working busy and going home tired, and ultimately making sure they're upholding what the customer's requests are at the end of the day. So it's a win-win across the board, either way you look at it. I think naturally it's just going to, when done right, it's going to progress right into that role automatically on its own without even having to ask a question about it. So
I like that approach, like an organic transition into the separate position. Shon, how would you like to free up 2 shop foremen to assist technicians in learning and growing, pounding out at FFV and at CSI when you have a dispatcher all by himself? What do you think?
Well, I think to answer your question, Marco, it's a good question. I think we're already there. I think to me, a dispatch, again, you have a lot of leaders obviously on There's nobody new that's on this call or on this segment. I think we're already there. To me, dispatcher, warranty administrator, BDC, they're three things. All they're doing is making sure the advisors are selling hours and the technicians are turning hours. That's really what they're doing. And again, I think we've all agreed the one consensus across the board here is the dispatcher's the lifeblood. The BDC fills the drive, but that dispatcher is the one that makes sure it comes out the other end. Yes, we need the techs to turn the hours, but we need the right techs during the right jobs at the right times.
Excellent. Thank you, Shon. Curtis, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think there's an importance for a sole dispatcher, but I think maybe to highlight a different point of view is maybe a dispatcher, regardless if they're the shop foreman, that isn't also flagging hours. I think sometimes one, it's more responsibility to flag hours, be a shop foreman, and dispatch tickets. When you take the dispatcher off of flagging his own hours, I think the ticket dispatching amongst a shop it changes because that dispatcher has probably more experience in the shop. They've been there for longer. And so then they're more responsible for dispatching that work to help grow the shop, to make sure that it gets done fast, that the customers are taken care of. And so it gives them the ability to learn more about their technicians, learn more about the advisors and where the strengths are versus the weaknesses, and help their team grow without having to worry about flagging their own hours and, maybe taking on more than they can chew.
Absolutely. That's a great point. Thank you, Curtis. Mike, what is your angle?
I love an effectively set up an electronic dispatch system with an overseer. I just think it frees up so much mental fatigue that most people have trying to figure out how to dispatch work through the shop, that if you're willing to put in the work and you design the system based on a technician's skill and ability, it will automatically, based on when they're completed the job, the next job based on their skill will pop up for them. The overseer's responsibility, however, is those, as we call them, gravy jobs or specific jobs. Those can be fed into the system so that technician either gets a relief if he's had back-to-back heavy-duty type work or diagnostic work, and allows them to take that breather, or if it's a specific job that fits right in their preview, then, it'll go directly to them. But it requires effective communication. Hey, John, I'm going to be giving you this particular job. This customer actually requested you. He's worked with you before. You fixed his car before. And I just want to let you know it's coming your way. I mean, it all gets down to communication and how we set this up. At the end of the day, regardless what system we use, if we don't communicate effectively with the people doing the end work, it just breaks down. It just gets so complicated and it breaks down. And then the end result is no one's happy and the customers are paying the price for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good points. Don, your take, my friend.
Yeah, I think the question you want to always ask is, if it's a small store, it's very possible the service manager himself is dispatching the work. I got 5 technicians, whatever it is. But the real question you want to ask, Marco, is where is the state of the union right now? Do you have control of that repair order moving through the shop? Are technicians lost and not being recognized that they've been lost, all because we dispatched it away and there it is wallowing along in that shop? So a great question we want to ask is, am I broken right now? Can I, at any given time, have a status of exactly where an RO is in the process? And yeah, electronically, it might be labeled that way, but what is the plan to get that done? So I will tell you, a great dispatcher always has a plan, knows what's being carried over, knows when technicians are going to be freed up, and is already mapping a day out for a technician so that he doesn't have to think about it. If he doesn't have to think about it, we're going to have a great day. If he's always one job ahead of that technician, we're going to have a great day. And when he recognizes that a technician should have been done with this an hour ago, a half hour ago, Why isn't he back up here for another job? Why isn't he closing out? This is in real time. And so a service manager watching this right now needs to ask, at any given moment, do I know where everything is in the shop and is it moving? And that's a great question as to whether or not I need to fill that position with a permanent position, a permanent guy. And it'll be an obvious answer. It'll be an obvious answer. And you're right. I think we have to value this as the hub of the organization.
All right. Thank you, Don. Tully, last but definitely not least, since you have multiple stores with multiple different dispatching tactics, what is your opinion about this?
So let's just go back, back in our era, dispatchers were part of the system. And then 20 groups came around, and then dispatchers were expensive. And then we kicked them all out. And that's how teams started, is that we were trying to save money. But here's what we want to think about is when you say, should I have a dispatcher at my store, a person that does nothing but that, or does the team system work, or does a foreman work? It's whatever the store needs here. I don't think we should say this needs a dispatcher, this needs a foreman. I think every store works differently, and you got to find out what makes that store tick. So stores that have a dispatcher, that person's well-trained, knows everything that's going on in the shop. His jobs might be a little bit more encompassed. He is checking with parts, making sure parts coming in, pulling parts, making sure things are out in the shop, doing all the extra things that a dispatcher needs to do. I call that a larger shop, or a shop that needs a little bit of love in organization. Then you get to the shops that say are 8, 10, 12 technicians. A foreman can usually handle it. But is your technicians trained and monitored and are rich and happy every day, right? If your shop is half rich people and half poor people, it ain't going to work. And the goal is going to be, as a dispatcher, has to make sure everybody's rich and tired at the end of the day. You can't have one superstar and 8 guys barely making it. Everybody needs to go home with 15 hours a day. That's what we want every day. So your dispatcher, your team leader, your foreman has to be involved in that. And guess what? Your service manager needs to be engaged in that on a daily and weekly basis. And then you get back to the team system, which is the same way. Teams here are a group of 5 to 8 people in a team based on your shop. Does that work for your shop? But here's the thing. You got to make sure your technicians are trained. If you have separation of, I have the great guys, I have the okay guys, and I have the guys I just had to hire, that doesn't work. That doesn't work at all in a shop. Our goal is where they are in their training stages, but the goal is going to be is I want them all to succeed. And if we have ourselves separated in a shop like that, your shop's going to have rich people and shop's going to have poor people, and your shop morale will go down. So the goal is going to be is I can't answer the question, does it need to have a specialized dispatcher? It's based on the shop that you have, and how do I motivate all the technicians to be 15 hours per day?
Excellent point, Tully. Thank you. Well, Ted, I think that the Tech Visionaries have delivered once again on a very important issue going on right now, is the dispatching. So I hope that everybody watching gets some great information out of this. I want to thank each and every one of you for participating. And gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Let's keep this going.
Marco, it sounds like rich and tired needs to be a metric that we track in fixed operations now.
Absolutely. I'm 100% with you there.
All right.
It's not on your Excel sheets, guys? I thought it was on mine.
It's right next to the cupcake count.
Marco. Mike Weldon, Tully Williams, Don Andres, Shon Kingrey, Jim Sabino, Robert Migliaccio, Curtis Gardner, and the one and only Marco Zwanenburg. Everybody, what would Marco do? So I appreciate everybody being here on the great panel, Tech Visionaries, and more to come here on the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Okay, that's great. I'm leaving it running. We're out. We're good. It's great. Fantastic.
Awesome.
That was awesome. That was
Thanks,
a great
Marco.
subject.
Well, thank you guys. That was awesome. Thank you all for your participation and your input, because it's been
He's
such
been getting a lot of
hot
experience
topic.
moderating lately, I noticed. So
What can I say? Sitting around at home doing not much. I have time.
So, Miggs, I saw those cupcakes in your post. The very nice, the blue ones.
Yep. Every associate gets them now on their birthday. They get a 6-pack and a personal happy birthday letter from me. Or note.
That's great.
See?
I love your company, man. I love your company. It's awesome. I'm in a little place called Mark Tree, Arkansas.
Wow.
Where'd you find
Yeah.
it?
And I don't want to say small, but I had to drive 20 miles to get to a hotel.
Where did you fly?
Wow.
What airport?
I flew into Memphis and then crossed Mississippi and then drove north.
Well,
Wow.
Sounds to me like you should have
They
rented
had-
an RV, not a car.
They've had 1 inch of rain since November.
Wow.
Must be very dry.
Yeah, these farmers.
How big of a shop is it in the middle of nowhere?
Small. Four technicians. It's 4 technicians. Small.
Wow.
Service manager has been there 15 years and averages maybe a dozen repair orders a day, and had 4 pages of open repair order lists when I got there in December.
4 pages?
4 pages
Wow.
of open repair orders.
Oh, is this the guy that you talked to me about?
Yeah. This
Oh,
so it's my second visit. I'm really proud of it. He's
Okay.
got everything organized and everything, and the techs were. It's always good when the techs are thrilled to see you come back, right? So they actually
That's correct.
know that we've got to break some of these longtime habits with the service manager. So
Marco, Steve Thompson is texting me, asking me if you're going to be on his panel. And I said, I think Marco would like to, but you need to schedule it, Steve. So I think all that's open he's got is Monday. So I don't know if you're available Monday morning.
Yes, I am. As a matter of fact, I'm actually talking with him Thursday morning at 10:30 about his
That's
podcast.
what he said.
So,
He's had since February to schedule it, and now he's down to the last. He still hasn't picked. There's only one choice of times that's left. He's got to
well,
schedule.
sounds like Jason Albury cutting it a little close too there, but yeah.
Even Jason is scheduled. How about that?
Yeah, I know you told me. So no, I'll be available. Send me the link, and I'll be there.
Okay.
So thank you.
Good job, guys. Wonderful panel.
Awesome for sure.
Sean, I got to
Awesome job.
we got to hook up and catch up with each other. I still
Call me,
haven't
Don.
heard the story.
Absolutely, buddy.
So
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
All right.
I'm going to do a one-on-one with Curtis here. So
All right.
we're
Oh,
going
yes,
all
sir.
right.
Okay, guys.
Ted, did mine upload?
to. The video is still rolling, so we'll find out after you log off. I'm going to stay online. So
Okay, all right.
All right.
Okay.
Take
cool.
care, everybody.
All right.
See ya.
Good.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you guys. Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
Talk to you guys soon.
thank
Have
you, Jay.
safe travels,
Thank you,
Don.
Thank you, Sean Kingrey.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Thank you, Marco. What would Marco
Yes,
do?
sir. All right. So if I leave, you're good with the recording?
Yeah. Yeah, we're good.
Perfect.
We're good. Let's see here. Sean Kingrey, you're still online. Are you seeing something that I'm not aware of? Let's see here. Mike Weldon, incomplete. Mark, Sean, I'm going to take you off because the individual videos are not going to matter because we're recording it in a big format with many people. Okay, I don't know that he hears me, so I'm going to just kick him from the studio. There we go. Okay, cool. Hi. How was your trip?
It was good. I mean, it was good. We have a great conversation. Everything went smooth. There was interest from both sides. I think it's a new thing for them, so we didn't really walk away with like an answer or a plan. But I think we're going to touch base maybe Thursday or Friday and kind of see what the next steps are. It's kind of like for them, it's like I think they want me to come work for them, which might be the easiest path right now. But I don't know if the pay will line up. So we just got to kind of see what David says. Because I said he's got a big meeting today with Penske. So he was doing that. And then he said he'd get back to me. So I'm assuming talk this week.
All right. Excellent. Good. There's a reflection behind you on that picture.
It's
in
the
the white
sun. It's the sun going down. Is it on this side? It's on this side.
It's on the other side, on that, yeah, that side there. If there's a way just to dull that a little bit. It's better.
Yeah, the sun's like going down, right? And there's like kind of came back. It's like a window up above, and it.
All right. Well, it's kind of like a halo. Maybe it's meant to be. All right. Let me take the ticker off. What do you want to talk about tonight or today? This morning, you're the keynote.
I don't know. Is there anything that's kind of been a hot topic for you for the other conversations that you've had? With like technicians and stuff like that. About technicians, I guess.
I hate to say it, but that video MPI is still a hot thing.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, let's.
Everybody wants to know about it. They all want to get better. And Joe Shaker came out with that video quality score, VQS. And, they're actually, Tully's on that program now, the VQS. So they're grading how many words a minute the text says. They're looking at all these things. So I think they're using AI for that too.
Yeah, I get nervous about it being like a criteria versus what actually works.
Right.
Like I'd have to use it to see if to believe in it more than just kind of hear about it, because right now I'm just like, well, are they checking the boxes, or is the customer feel like they're being connected with, and are your numbers kind of trending in the right direction, kind of thing.
Have you talked to Joe Shaker at all or no?
No, not yet. No, we never. I mean, I think you were going to have us on a panel last time, but it didn't work out or something like that. But no, I haven't talked to him yet.
I had him on a panel with Tully about a month ago. That actually would be a really good fit with you. But again, depending on what he's doing, I'm not sure, but I would think that would be a good fit. So.
Yeah, I mean, we could do. I mean, maybe next time, or just maybe like one of your weekly shows. We could do one.
Okay. All right. So, if we open up Monday morning, fixed ops week, Sarah and I have already actually filmed an opening in person. Okay, we were together last week. So you're kicking off the fixed ops week. A lot of focus on fixed ops. Everybody wants to get in fixed ops, Curtis. You're seeing and hearing a lot of things in the shop and, outside the shop as well. Video MPI is hot, though. That is like super friggin' smoking hot. So I don't know if we could talk about it enough.
Yeah, I mean, if
and I know you're coming to Tully's store, right? I believe you are on June 10th.
Yeah, I will be there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do video inspection. That's fine. I just don't want to repeat like exactly what I said.
First of all, some of the people will have seen it. Many will not have seen it. We always get new people. They don't always come on the same day, the same time of day. Okay. So there's no harm in talking about some repetitive things, because they're not going to know it's repetitive. And most people need to hear it a couple times, right?
Yeah.
So I know you've been doing some stuff, and talking about the videos even more. So maybe let's talk about, how about this? Let's talk about social media for techs.
Yeah. Yeah, we can kind of talk about how video inspections gave me the confidence to do social media, and then kind of roll into that if you want.
Because we're seeing more and more people throughout the dealership. And now, look, I learned from your Instagram how many techs and how many shops are doing video. I mean, it's crazy. It's nuts.
Yeah, there's a ton. And it's crazy to think there's still more that want to do it. I'm like, oh, I thought we were already on board with this.
No, I think it's still early. I believe it or not, as many as there are. Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Sweet.
And I know at your previous place, and we don't have to mention any names, but you weren't allowed to do, let's say, videos in the shop. More recently, you have doing some in the shop. You also do some at home in the garage, right?
Yeah.
You do them outside in the lot. You do them everywhere. So you do them on campus at Northwood walking.
Yeah. If I can get on camera and talk about something, I'll try to do it.
Okay. So let's just do a short opening, 15, 18 minutes, something like that. It's May,
Yeah.
the second week of May. We're in the middle of the second quarter. It's Fixed Ops Week. All eyes are on you. You were a big hit last time. So,
Well, let's hit it out of the park this time.
all right, cool. All right. So if you're good to go, I'm not going to mention where you're working. Okay. We'll keep that at bay.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit about maybe your company, Tech NAR. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So if you're good to go, we're starting at about 45 and a half minutes. Here we go. Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. What a great way to start our day with Curtis Gardner, technician extraordinaire, tearing it up all over social media. Curtis, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Ted. It's a pleasure to be here. A pleasure to kick this thing off and start such a fantastic opportunity that you provide for so many people to speak up for the things they believe in and give us the opportunity to make the industry a little bit better.
Curtis, you are a breath of fresh air, okay? Because you have come in like a hurricane, okay, into the industry. I didn't know about you until maybe a year and a half, maybe a little longer ago. But watching what you do and the consistency, Curtis, of what you do is so important. It's important in all of life. But I want to talk to you today about text, video, of course, MPIs, and what you do on social media, because I'm noticing more and more shops, Curtis, not just text, but the shops are on Instagram, they're on Facebook, they're on LinkedIn, they're on TikTok, they're on all the platforms. So, first of all, how do you have the time to do it? How do you manage to hold down this big technician job and do all these other things on top of that with social?
Yeah, there's definitely some sacrifices. There's also some priorities. I've made over the last year and a half made content creation and social media a priority, and some other areas, whether it's at work or some of the other things, I have to make a few sacrifices. But the biggest thing is, I think right now it's just raw, natural content. Having the ability to just film yourself, what you're doing. There's not a need for a ton of editing, and more people are enjoying that. More people are listening. It's almost like you're on a FaceTime call. It's you're having a conversation with your phone, and you put it on social media, and people are just eating it up and they're really enjoying that kind of stuff.
So I got to ask you, one, was it hard to get started? B, did you have a built-in audience in the beginning, or did you start off with, little to none and then grow it little by little?
Yeah, I mean, the hardest part is getting started. Everyone wants, the system and the process to be perfect. They're like, well, I want to make sure it looks like this, and I want to sound like this. And your first 100 videos aren't going to be perfect, and the next 100, they'll never be perfect, but you're going to always improve. Every video, every time you speak, you're going to listen to yourself, watch yourself, and you're going to constantly improve. And the audience is your closest, your friends, your family. And as you grow, you start to get more, you build a larger community, and you start, there's a huge need to interact with people. You can't just post content, because you just post content, it's gonna be like, well, it's just another Joe Schmo on the internet. It's, connecting with the people in your audience or your community and conversing with them and, in the comments or in the messages. And that takes more time than creating the content. But I've gotten to meet so many wonderful people, whether I'm traveling and meeting them or, meeting them through a message. It just start the first video, continue. Consistency is going to beat out talent any day of the week. Just stay consistent.
Do you watch, and have you watched your own videos? And has this helped you with doing your day job, the multi-point tech videos for the customer?
Believe it or not, the video inspections actually kind of inspired me and helped me feel more comfortable doing social media. So I did the video inspections, leaned into that for about a year, and then I was like, wow, my message, I kind of looked inside and realized my message can go much further than what I'm doing here. And so then I started putting myself in front of the camera and sent a few videos. And I look back at those videos now, and feel like I was talking like a robot. I was like, wow, I was so nervous, or I was not looking at the camera, or I was, talking really slow. And there's so many things you can constantly improve on. And then I think it's important to invest in yourself. And the reason I mean that is, communication courses help you not just in social media or video inspections, but in life. Is you watch the video, you listen to the video, you hear the video, whether that's social media or the multi-point inspection, and it gives you the opportunity to improve if you want to.
So, was there a mentor you had that inspired you, or did you do all this on your own, or how did you get started?
I don't know if I had a specific mentor for social media. I kind of found people along the way,
Okay.
but I think each person in each niche is specific, because if we all posted the same thing, then we wouldn't have our individual communities and audiences. I think it's important to, find a style of content you like and maybe look up to a few people and, try some of the things they're trying and see what works for you. Because, I just started posting a new style of content about 3 weeks ago. And so I've been integrating that into what I'm doing now. And I've gained 40,000 followers in less than a month on Instagram. And my TikTok has tripled. My Facebook has, quadrupled. And it was just keep trying new stuff, keep having fun, keep being yourself. And you mentioned dealerships starting to do social media.
Yes.
And I think that's a huge, huge opportunity for customers and fellow technicians and just your ordinary person on Instagram or TikTok or social media to look into the shop and say, wow, this is what a dealership is kind of like. Like they're not, they're kind of fun. They're doing fun stuff and then they're having a good time.
Where did you start? What platform, or did you start on all of them at the same time?
I started on Instagram first, and then I quickly realized that I needed to be on all of them. So I don't have the same success on all of them. Instagram
Right.
is my largest platform, but I'm on TikTok, Facebook, I'm on YouTube, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Threads. I don't think I'm not on Twitter, but as many as you can be on, it's hard. I wouldn't lie about it. It's hard to keep up with all that. It's hard to post, consistently. It's hard to keep up with people. It's hard to keep up with comments and messages. But if it's something that someone believes in and you believe that that's what you want to do, whether you're the dealership or an individual, you just got to keep with it because it will pay off if you stick with it.
So, for techs watching, I know in the past you did not post in the shop where you worked. I saw you do videos from home, elsewhere. Talk to us about that. And now I do see that you do some content in the shop. Why?
Yeah, it's important as an individual to make sure that where you're posting is acceptable with the place that you work.
Okay.
That was just making sure that you're checking with your immediate manager or whoever's in charge and making sure that's okay with them. What are the stipulations? Obviously we don't want to share any customer information or license plates, VIN numbers, things like that. But yeah, there, at first I had to go through some speed bumps, if you will. And I had to post in my car, in my garage, and really make do with what I had. But I knew that content creation was important to me. And so I kept with it and stuck with it. And it was rough. And now I've, over the last few months had the opportunity to film back in the shop with some guidelines. And yeah, it's been fantastic. I really started enjoying, the ability to film in the content, even if, some of the other things aren't necessarily going my way. I've learned to love like what I'm doing even more now that I'm able to do it where I work.
Let's go back to the MPI videos that you do with your customers. How long does it take? I know you and I have covered some of this ground before, but talk to us a little bit about that. Vehicles coming in the shop that you do in the course of your daily business. You got a technique. I've seen you do it.
Yeah, I weirdly enjoy it, like doing video inspections. It's the only opportunity, well, not the only, but the main opportunity that a technician has to connect and communicate with the customer, and even sometimes the advisor in a way that I can walk up to an advisor and have a conversation, but that advisor, if they listen to my video, they understand my level of skill, my level of knowledge, what I'm trying to interpret to the customer. And so that video inspection is my opportunity to connect with, someone in the dealership as well as someone coming into the dealership. And I just you get your haircut probably by the same person or maybe the same place.
Sure.
And so it's always been extremely important to say, I want to be that person that the customer comes back to when they come to the dealership. Say, hey, Curtis worked on my car great. He did my video inspection great. He sounds like he knows what he's talking about. Like, I want him working on my car again. And that was kind of what I realized doing my video inspections. And it's, it's a blessing to be able to share some of the things I've been doing with my video inspections and share my techniques with other technicians. And I've had so many positive messages on Instagram and stuff about, hey, I started doing my videos like yours, and I'm making more money. I'm having people come back and ask for me, and it just makes me feel good because what I'm saying works, and it's nice to hear it.
Is it mostly, you tell me, younger technicians that embrace this quicker because maybe they've had exposure to doing videos from a young age?
Yeah, I will say it is mostly younger technicians, but I will also say that there's a lot of older technicians that have been maybe afraid to speak up or afraid to say something positively. The culture in the shop sometimes can be a little negative, and some of the more positive technicians are afraid to speak up, and they are afraid to talk about the good things like video inspection. So I've had a lot of older technicians that are like, wow, this has worked for me. And they just don't speak about it because they don't kind of want to be a target in the shop. And so it's, I think, helped out a surprising amount of experienced technicians as well.
What about advisors? How do they, what's their take? What do they say?
I have a funny story. Not too long ago, a advisor who isn't on my team, but he was riding for us on a Saturday. And so I did a video inspection just like I normally would. And I sent my quotes in just like I normally would. And he came back in the shop and he was jumping for joy. He was so ecstatic. He was like, man, I wish more people did video inspections like you. And it was not to bring down other technicians, but what it was to say is the time and the effort I've invested into the way I introduce myself, the way I speak through the video inspection the same way every time, the way that I, end the video inspections. I put a lot of time and effort into that. And he was able to experience that firsthand. And it helped him do his job even easier. And it was able to supply a lot of information to the customer. And he was like, wow, we need to do more of this. You're doing a fantastic job. Great job. Keep it up. And it was just, it was one of those things that it made me smile, put a big smile on my face. And I just felt super proud of the work I've put in.
Do the advisors watch your videos before they go out to the customer? And I realize that may change, depending on shop.
Yeah, I always encourage the advisors to watch them, at least the majority of it, maybe at least the customer concern, because that's going to be the reason that customer is in there. But I don't know. I don't know if they all watch it, but I have gotten feedback from the advisors that do. They're like, dude, this video inspection is great. Keep it up. And so that I always want feedback, even negative feedback. If someone's, so I'm saying something weird or maybe they don't like something and I hear it enough times, well, maybe I should adjust the way that I say that because it might sound good to me, but it might come off confrontational or not the right way to a customer or an advisor.
Do you get any negative feedback? Does that actually happen? Yeah.
Not really. Maybe when I was first starting, I would get maybe some things about the way I was wording things that could potentially put us in a tough situation. Like if it's around warranty, it's making sure you're using the right warranty language or using language that doesn't necessarily put anyone in a bad position, whether that's a customer or someone at the dealership. You just want to make sure you're speaking in a way that's neutral.
All right. So, all your social media posts, they seem to be different. You mentioned you started something new a few weeks back. Do you mind maybe sharing a couple things that you're doing that's new and that's obviously working for you? These are big numbers.
Yeah. So I started out doing very educational content, like how to be a more efficient technician, how to do better in video inspections. And my audience and community is slowly growing, but social media is a big entertainment platform. There's a lot of people that are in there to learn, have fun or learn things or, enjoy themselves, have a good laugh. So I was been trying to kind of come up with an idea of something that's like entertaining. And so I started doing almost like tool reactions. So funny tool reactions where it's somebody using a tool and maybe a different kind of way to test a new system or to use it in a unique way. And so what I would show the clip of that being done, and then I would try it myself, showing that it works, and then try to explain briefly whether it works, it doesn't work, how you could, that type of thing. Like I had one that did really well where I was testing a wrench against an alternator, and it's because it produces a magnetic field. Now that's fun. It looks a little dangerous, but it's fun. Ultimately, it's not the right way it should be done, but it's kind of cool to see like, wow, the alternator is creating a magnetic field, but you should still check it with a voltmeter. So it's kind of like a dual type of piece of content.
So how's all, in your opinion, and you've been a technician for a while now, how's all this going to evolve? Where's this going? Where's it headed? I mean, I could never have pictured this a couple, 3-5 years ago, but where's this going in the future? What's next?
Yeah, social media is going to power the world. It's going to be the way that technicians represent themselves.
Yeah.
It's given me a lot of opportunities just to have conversations, even based off of what I've been posting on multiple platforms, especially LinkedIn. It's like, wow, you're very outspoken. I mean, there's people that come to me and don't even know I'm a technician because of the things I'm talking about, and the way that I'm trying to help the industry grow a little bit. It's social media is the only way that I can express myself outside of my current dealership. I mean, sure, I can send my resume to a bunch of dealerships, but these people that are watching, or the community that I'm building, the audience, they're able to see me if I'm having, going through a rough patch, if I'm doing good, they're able to learn and grow with me and say, hey, this person is a normal. He's just like us. He's having a hard time. He's having a great time. And so it really lets people learn more about me. And, I think the biggest thing is that most brands, you can't transfer certifications between technicians without having to take a bunch of new tests and stuff. And I think this is providing us with an opportunity to learn what that technician is about, what their work ethic is like, what their diagnosis skills are like, and then maybe being able to bridge that gap a little bit more because you've seen proof of it on social media.
Yeah, it is social proof, and it's so important. And I see it growing and growing and growing. Back on the tech multi-point videos, where is this going? Because you and I talked in the green room before we got started. You see things now that there's more and more techs doing it. There's millions of video files, many millions every month. There's all kinds of things, like they're now keeping score on how techs do, and there's different platforms doing different things, different dealer groups doing different things. They're Tully is measuring it in a different way than, let's say, the dealership down the street is measuring it. I view this as a really great thing for the industry. What are you seeing? Where does this go? Where's this head now?
I think the most important thing is to make sure that we understand what it looks like and feels like to the customer. Okay. Because they're the one that's ultimately receiving this video, and they're the ones whose customer or cars we're servicing. And I think it's easy to get lost in a lot of technology sometimes. I think it's easy to get lost in AI and how it's, incorporated into our daily lives. And video inspections have come in, they're coming in fast. They're evolving every day. And I see new things out about, the scoring thing, whether there's the headsets. I think there's real opportunity for good stuff, but I would caution against some of it. It's like, we don't want to lose touch with that personal side of things. You don't want to have all the text sounding the same. You don't want to have all the text sounding like robots, listing out this checklist of things they need to get a right score on. Because, I'll reference back to the barbershop. You don't go to the barbershop and not talk to the person, right? You have the same conversation, especially if you go back to the same person. You're not talking about, sure, where do you work? Do you have kids? Who's your family? And it's like, I'm afraid that we might get to that point where all the videos sound too similar and all the technicians sound just alike, and we're not having any personal connection in those videos. So they're great. They're growing fast. So just let's make sure we're keeping the tech, and the customers, receiving that video the right way.
Many shops are, well, you tell me, are they requiring it? Is it suggested? Is it, I know a number of dealerships on the Roundtable that absolutely insist that every vehicle now, gets a video inspection.
Yeah, I think it's good to build. It's good to build consistency with the video inspections. You want customers to get a video inspection not just when they need something, but all the time. Whether they're like, "Hey, your car's in for a 5,000-mile tire rotation or oil change." Like, "Hey, I just want to let you know the tires are in great shape. We topped off your fluids. And, everything's looking good. We'll see you at your next service," kind of thing. You don't want a customer to get a video like, "Oh man, what do I need to buy now?" Now I will say for dealerships just starting them, I think there's a trial and error period. You need to communicate with the technicians on what works and what doesn't work, because every shop, every environment is different. It's usually suggested at first, and it slowly works into a required thing once they start to realize the value it brings to the customer experience.
It does. Finally, tell us about your company, Technar. What are you doing, and where's that headed?
Yes, the Technar Training and Development specifically focuses on technician infrastructure, technician training and coaching, mentorship. It's really just a platform that I've built off the things I've done over the last 16 years in my career. And that goes from video inspections. It goes from training teams inside of dealerships, whether that's, how you grow a technician from like the lube team all the way up into master technician, making sure they're challenging themselves, being certified. It's, something as silly as counting your steps in between, your daily processes. If you can save a few seconds here, a few seconds there, a minute, it adds up over a year. And so it's really about just honing the technician position within a dealership.
Lastly, today for the audience watching, whether it be a tech, whether it be a dealer, fixed ops director, maybe somebody at an OEM, can people reach out to you? And if so, what's the best way to get a hold of Curtis Gardner? Because you got a lot going on and you understand where the industry is headed.
Yeah, my social media name, I have changed it to Curtis A. Gardner all the way across. So every LinkedIn, every Instagram, every platform is Curtis A. Gardner. I am that brand that I'm trying to build. The Technar thing has kind of formed into, the company that I'm trying to build. My email is probably the best way to contact me if it's not a direct message, and that's curtis@nard.com, which is kind of spelt kind of funny. So it's going to be GNARRED. And that's me. Find me, ask me questions. I'm willing to help out. Anything I can do to, help with my fellow technicians, grow 1% better every day.
I'm excited for you and seeing where this is going and watching you continue to grow in the industry, and excited for this week, all that's going to happen with Fixed Ops at Fixed Ops Week. So thank you for being a big part of it, Curtis. And we owe you a whole lot here, and a big debt of gratitude.
Well, thank you, Ted. Thank you for doing what you do for all of us.
Everybody, Curtis Gardner here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.